Mm. You always knew. All right, I think we're ready now. Getting there. Y'all know better than to expect a professional production. Let's see. All my lighting's messed up. Everything's messed up. We lost power today, so all my settings that I assumed were going to be ready. We're not ready. My computer was off in the back that normally has all my screens so I can watch. Oh, let's see. Turn some of this stuff off. That's a little better. Cleaner. Hello, everybody. What's happening? Jorge, what's happening? Who farted? Who farted? My parents are in your backyard right now. They are on a trip they went to Bellingham, Washington to visit my uncle, doing some sightseeing around there, into Canada, and then left out of Seattle maybe yesterday, and they're actually in Alaska now. Took an Alaska cruise from Seattle to Alaska for a couple of days. Then they're gonna come back to Seattle and fly home, I think Monday. It said it's 40 degrees. It was 88 today here. So, oh, Stephen Armstrong, what's happening? So, who fought it says Alberta needs more Wingbits stations. If anybody wants to go help out, I think that's what. At least I think that's what he says. Just trying to catch up on things. I have been busy. I thought I was gonna get home like early and get ready for this, like a real YouTube streamer and stuff like that. But that didn't work out like that. Here, echo. Let's see. All right, we're just not gonna have a chart. How about that? I can't get that up. My camera's all jacked up because I moved my computer. Y'all know, like I said, y'all wouldn't expect anything different. If y'all want to one of professional streamers, y'all better go watch George or something, because y'all know better than that. So I had a couple ideas of stuff to talk about this evening, things that I was hoping to do a little bit of research on, so I knew what the hell I was talking about. One of the big things is crypto's up, and it's up, and it's going up, and it's. I mentioned in my Monday video. It's just hilarious to see these people who, all the YouTubers talking about how low Bitcoin's going, and we missed the bull market, and the bull market ain't going to have an alt season and all this stuff like that. And then you see something like this. I get to come up. And, you know, it was sideways for a while. Bitcoin, you know, came down 93,000, 91, 93, 95. And then, I mean, it hit 97,000. So what's it do from here? I don't know. You know, everybody thought everything was going to zero because of tariffs and stuff, whether you agree with them or disagree with them. I got very mixed feelings on them. You know, there's a pause in tariffs. So what happens in was it 90 days? When the 90 days is up and some of them, they keep talking about those tariffs are coming back. Y'all know what's going to happen. The market's going to tank and people going to act like they haven't been here before. Helium was having a little resurgence. We were getting all excited. You know, I did my video about the 5 cryptos that y'all need to, you know, look at right now. I have a good 5x chance. This was one of them. 5x like over the bull run, not within the next week or two. But, you know, this was at 230 and, you know, it was in the 4s at one point. So you almost doubling your money on that one. People laughed at me for that one. WIF was another one. WIF was down here at 30 cents. So if you would have listened, and again, none of this is financial advice. This is just what I'm playing around with. I loaded back up on some WIF, and WIF doubled. And at one point it was at 70 cents last week. And so you would have been more than doubled looking at WIF. AVAX was at $15 up to $22. So hey, you would have been up, you know. Vet still got this anchor holding it down, but you know, it was at 0.018 something. And you know, it didn't quite double, but it's up. We'll take it. I don't know what Solana's at. Well, Solana was at $300 at one point. Peak, I bought more Peak when it was at 10 cents. It's only up to 13. It's crazy. You know, I'm still waiting for this big altcoin push. Like, we still have to get this big altcoin push at some point. One thing I wanted to mention that people talked about, and it's funny because depending on who you talk to, it's either great or it's trash. But yeah, people who are talking about Wayru going TGE, and I don't know how much dumping occurred at TGE, and this is what I wanted to kind of research before today's live, but y'all know better than that. Y'all would expect better than that. But you know, Wayru is down 60% since its TGE. And this is what my fear is. We were just talking about this in my Discord. Again, I know all y'all here, y'all are all in my Discord. But you know, people asking about Wingbits and Wingbits going to when's Wingbits going TGE, and they made some kind of comment about waiting for the market to be right, and some people don't want to be patient and are saying, you know, that may be never. But the problem is if you have a launch like this, but it's because the market's going down, but you see something like this, you know, right now the market's not going down. So this is on Wayru. I think y'all can agree with that. Where if it's because the market's going down like we had 2-3 weeks ago, people are going to think it's because of the project, if that makes sense. And that's why I can understand why you don't want to push TGE to a certain point. What I wanted to research, and maybe some of y'all, because I know some of y'all have pushed me towards Wayru, and I'm still looking at it. You know, token price, especially at launch, doesn't bother me that much because you see a lot of projects right now doing this. I call it, if I'm not mistaken, I call this the Haktua effect. When you allow your investors to be able to unlock their tokens at TGE, you have to expect that this is going to happen. Now, I don't know what plans say like Wingbits or 375AR, these other projects that we have in testnet right now, they're investors. Yes, it's great. I'm the opposite. People want to promote all this, like, these investors are coming in. We got X amount of millions from these investors in fundraising and stuff, but they're all getting tokens. And if they all can just go unlock those tokens, these investors ain't stupid with their money. They're watching things like this happen right here. Point the right way. So you think they want to sell here, or you think they want to hold on to it and sell down here when it's down 60%? To me, hey, if I've been in testnet for 2 years and my tokens are going to be dropped at either 6 month or a 1 year interval, well, once a month, but spread over 12 months, those investors should be doing the same thing, because the Haktua effect is, and what killed that token is, people will still blame the Haktua girl like she's some criminal mastermind. The girl can barely spell. She probably can't chew gum and spell at the same time. People want her arrested for all this crap when that girl ain't did. That girl got talked into doing a meme coin, and she knew she was doing a meme coin, and she's the only idiot that had a locked token. She can't unlock her shares for like 3 years, or something like that, like a moron. But all their early investors that came in were able to unlock at TGE as soon as it got listed, and that tanked the price. And from what I'm told, this is kind of the same thing of what I'm reading in the Discords and stuff. There's another project, I forget which one it is, but they're claiming how they're trying to use the Jedi mind trick of, all of our investors full unlock at TGE, so you don't have to worry about them dumping later. So now you're using a Jedi mind trick to make us think that that's a good thing, at least how I look at it. I don't want them to dump right away, because you have issues like this. So Jay Styles says he agrees with me on Wayru, one of the worst I ever saw. Listen, I still think Silencio or Soarchain can give him a run for the money. Soarchain and Silencio have been out for how long? And they're not even on any big exchanges, I don't think, or maybe one. Wayru is only on Radium, so you can only trade it. They're not even on the CEX yet. What the hell happens when they get on the CEX? I was talking to Jorge earlier. We talked about GeoNet. GeoNet is got a halving come up. So we were discussing, would you buy GeoNet? Everybody knows right now is one of the top projects we got. Probably the one that is my number one real DPIN right now that's paying out. Yes, not BitHarbor. Yes, Entropy does pay, or Entropy as Grumpy calls it. Yes, Entropy does pay a little bit more per day. I think like $8 a day. I haven't even looked at my chart. And GeoNet might be between 5 and 6. So GeoNet's probably my number one project right now. But do you go and buy a new station when in June next month, or was it a little more than a month from now, they got a halving coming up? And whoever came up with that white paper to do a halving every year needs to be kicked squared in the testicles. Because people went from 48 to 24 to 12 tokens. Like, that's crazy. It's just, I just don't understand it. But, some people say, well, the halving makes price go up. Yes, when there is a demand for that token and the scarcity, like Bitcoin, when Bitcoin's halving constantly, miners can only come up with so much of it, and everybody wants Bitcoin. All these, retail investors, whales, they all want. So there is the demand for that token, which would also increase the price. People aren't breaking their necks or backs to go buy GeoNet. Let's just be honest. There's no demand for that particular token unless you're in that GeoNet project, or you have to buy their RTK service and, it burns that token or whatever like that. But if you don't have a demand for that token on the market, you don't have a demand that's going to make it go up. So in my eyes, and I could be wrong, listen, if y'all can say I'm wrong, that's fine. But I still say you have to have demand for that token for it to get hurt, or for it to increase the price during a halving. And some of these projects, there's not that kind of open market. Nobody's going on an exchange for the hell of it and saying, oh, I wonder what GeoNet's today. I just need to stock up on some of that. I just don't agree with that. That will be, I bought the Grumpy coin and got hooked to it. Yeah, well, everybody wanted me to do a Grumpy token, has been asking me for a long time to do a Grumpy token. And when the thing that happened Hawk Tour was what my biggest worry was. I don't know enough. It's very easy to watch YouTubes and everybody's talking about, hey, create your own token. You make $1,000 and stuff. And I wasn't looking at for that. I was trying to create a token for fun that we could all spread around and blah, blah, blah. My biggest fear would be people who do go by, because I have friends who like are into money, like into investment, stuff like that. They will all promise me this early investment money and seed money and all this stuff like that. And I would literally lose sleep if my friends that I've been friends with for 30 years bought my tokens or invested in my tokens and put up X amount of thousands. And then 3 days later, it was worth 30 cents because the snipers got to it or this kind of crap like this happened to it. And that's one reason why, like, trust me, I'm gonna tell you right now, it still crosses my mind every now, especially now that I have a Discord, it crosses my mind, but I don't know what the hell I'm doing with it. You know, it's easy to watch a YouTube video about how to create it, but when it starts talking about all this, you know, when it gets past the pump.fun stage, I don't have time to go on Twitter. And if you're not on Twitter, shilling that freaking token out on everybody's Twitter. Oh, look at them clouds. It's a nice day today. Yeah, go buy a Grumpy token. Like, I'm not about all that. So, Jay Styles, and you're right. I could do my own token, and 80% of people could make money off of it. Those 20% people that lose money are going to say Grumpy took that token, and now he's living a high life on his own private island. Because I'll be straight honest with y'all, I'm not going to make a Grumpy token and not own it, not hold it. So I'm not going to create a token like some people do. Like, look, I'm not even going to hold this token. Well, why in the hell would I create a Grumpy token and not own it or hold it? That makes no sense. You know, but I do. Every now and then I got people that hit me up like, man, look, we'll handle the whole thing for you. Yeah, but that's what they told Hawk to a girl. And now the poor girl's still in hiding because everybody wants to lynch her. Like, if you bought a token called Hawk Tour, what did you think was going to happen? People like were on there talking about they spent their house notes and life savings and everything on that stupid token. What the hell were you expecting? But this all circles back to what I was going originally. And again, I don't know what our projects that we're into that are still in testnet. I don't know what their plans are. You know, this is my opinion and my opinion only. I'm not excited when I see, yes, these projects, Wingbits, 375 AI and Silencio and all these other ones, yes, they need that fundraising capital and that fundraising money and seed money to pay the bills from now until this really, really takes off. I understand that. But when you're giving away all these tokens with it, those people want their investment back and they're going to sell at some point. And if they have a 100% full unlock, they could go dump it all the first minute. And what happens? What happens to the token price? And the people who have been, you know, I don't know. Maybe that's part of the negotiation is, hey, we, you know, we'll give you all the seed money, but we want X amount of tokens, 25%, 15%, and we want to be able to, we want it fully unlocked at TGE. I don't know. I don't know. It's just something that with Wayru, it bothered me because when I see what this price is and what's happened to it, you know, what's it been live for 3 days now? Oh, you know, I don't know. It's, you know, it is up 89% since its all-time low. So if you bought at the old all-time low, you're doing pretty good. You know, Yeah, two tenths of a cent. Oh man. Yeah, that's crazy. Hey man, it don't want to work. But anyway, y'all get the drift. It stayed up 3 hours. Hey, people like me who liked Wayru and didn't want to come up with the $50 and didn't want to go through the stuff of onboarding a device, even though I got an onboard device that's been turned on for who knows how long now, a month on Wayru. I might just want to go buy the token. Take some different. I used to say junk coins, but I can't say junk coin because I actually have a junk coin now from the junk coin project. But some of my crap coins and trade it for a little bit of Wayru and just see what happens. If it goes back up to 0.002, you actually will do pretty well on it. Wayru removed 150 Solana they had in as liquidity and also had wallets trading before anyone else was allowed. Well, 619, I can tell you, there's already been grumpy tokens, and I'm not gonna be conceited enough and say that was because I mentioned it. There have been, when I first started talking about this 6-8 months ago. Oh no, it's probably longer than that. I was still doing videos at my old office. I want to say 8-9 months ago, when I looked on Bird Eye and stuff, there was already a grumpy token. So there's no official. Let me tell y'all something. Somebody, this goes also along with like the scammer thing, that there's a scammer. You made it on Discord when they got scammers that are scamming your. It actually looks pretty. It almost fooled me, but I tell people I don't have time right now to sleep. I got between medical issues and everything else I got going on. My son's graduating high school in a week or two. My daughter's, we leaving for a couple of days for her state championship for softball. All next week, I'm going to a work conference. I don't have time to make up these trading programs and stuff that are being scammed to people. So if y'all see a grumpy token, trust me, my point I'm trying to make is if I did do a trading program like is trying to be scammed to y'all on Discord, y'all don't think I'd be doing a video and would have a video announcing it first? It would be all over my Discord. Same thing with a grumpy token. It would be all over the place. I'd be paying for that. So look, there's a grumpy cat, grumpy pants, grumpy cat, grumpy pants, grumpy anger, grumpy Shiba coin. So there's a couple of grumpies in there. Nobody sausage. Dude, how did I miss that one? Tree stuck in cat. Oh, man. Jesus proof? I'm missing out, man. Missing out. Let's see what grumpies we got. Grumpy cat, grumpy cat forever, grumpy cat, treasury bill, grumpy legal rewards, grumpy cat, Tardar, grumpy puss, Grace, grumpy cat, grumpy Shiba coin. $120,000 on grumpy cat. I think we missed that one. Yeah. I ain't caught up lately on Who Loves Burrito and what new deep in projects. This is how I found a lot of my deep in projects. Y'all know I pump him up. Who Loves Burrito? He does his homework. Look at me. When you look at his in all his projects he's got, it tells you what each project does. Man does his homework, that's for sure. Man does his homework. What else we got? All in on Grumpy Sheba. Heard it here first. Yeah, I'm curious to know what other projects are doing. Is 100% unlock a normal thing, and we're just learning this? You know, is Wingbits when Wingbits? You know, some people upset with the tokenomics for Wingbits, but hey, it was the same thing that I'll defend them just with the fact that it's the same thing that GeoSonar had, not GeoSonar, GeoNet had, and nobody complained then. But you know, Mr. Shreveport Grumpy, I think my rewards will diminish a lot. I think you need to go find out who that is and go cut their antenna off the roof. I didn't say that out loud. Because whoever it is in Shreveport, if their station's high enough, they're going to hurt Grumpy also. I'll give you a reward for every antenna you... No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I don't need nobody snipping that. Let's see, man. Listen. Y'all know I've been mentioning on every one of my videos. I didn't want to jump into the whole Wingbits thing this early, but y'all going to trigger me. So... I've been trying to mention in all my videos, you have to go on this map and look. I know some of y'all who are sitting here, you know, hit the like button if y'all sick of hearing me saying you got to go check the map. But still waiting for this station to come online. Still waiting for this station to come online. And I am absolutely besides myself that somebody in my old neighborhood is putting a Wingbit station up. Besides myself. Hey, I am looking to host a Wingbit station, or I have a station that I got to pull out of here because I'm sick of waiting on this grain elevator to come back online, and my poor GeoSonar sitting here lonely because I'm gonna get in trouble at some point. I know. So if somebody has a good area for a Wingbit station and wants me to ship it to them, send me a DM. Tell me where it's at. Oh man. Hey, hopefully they put the antenna in Mama's basement. That's what we're gonna have to hope for. I can give you a hint though. My son's going to college somewhere around here, and you might be seeing the station come online. When's college start? August. But anyway, oh, here I am not looking at the map again. Not looking at the map again. So I'm at to pull this station out. This is the station. I'm at to pull this one out because this is the one that the GeoSonar, like I said, is sitting right here. Grain elevator seems never going to get fixed. It was supposed to be fixed in April. Here we are now in May, and the grain elevator, grain silo elevator still's not fixed. Son's going to college up here, so you may be seeing a station go online, and hopefully somebody is putting this in Mama's basement. Not that we have basements in Louisiana, because it would flood. So Mama's bottom floor, kitchen, pantry. All you can hope for, man. Like I said, I got somebody still waiting on this guy to get his station in. This guy got his online. This guy's waiting also. I got a feeling I know who this is from D-Fly. And somebody in my old neighborhood right here is gonna come step on me in between my buddy station and my other buddy station. And this is a low station, but what it is this is Lakefront Airport, and there's a lot of out of town certain dignitaries, political dignitaries, that come into the Lakefront Airport right here when they don't want to go through the big New Orleans International Airport. Now, since I saw this, I'll ask y'all's opinion because some of y'all guys are on there more than I am. There's all kinds of conspiracies. If you look at the Wingbits map, you now have this icons for airports. So everybody wants to know, does that mean they're going to start compensating for the stations that are close to the airport? That's a good question. New Orleans International Airport's right here. Their runway is right here. And my buddy has his station I showed y'all before right here. Like literally, I think it's like 500 feet from the runway. So trust me, he is trying to get, no, actually I lied because it's in this hex, idiot. So that's the runway. So he's one of these buildings right here. So I don't know. But anyway, like I said, if anybody wants to host a Wingbit station for me, you know, if you live in an area like here, you know, something that's wide open. I don't know if D Vaseline is here, but he's going to ask about chug water. Where the hell is chug water? You know, for all the times I check chug water, you'd think I would know. Oh, chug water is north of the Cheyenne. Chug water is still wide open for somebody. If I could just contact somebody, I'd put one in chug water for the hell of it. So what else we got? Let me see. I'll do Malden Streetport Airport. Yep, the bay better. Next to the airport, because of saturation, I'm getting tanked. The airports are more interesting, very interesting. Nobody said airports are earning more. Who farted? Nobody said that. Nobody said that. I'm just saying. People are asking if that's coming. They have discussed that in AMAs in the past. Once they got this new tokenomics that they came out with about a month or two ago, once they got this settled in, they were looking at trying to give some type of little extra bonus, reward, or anything like that for ground flight, ground aircraft, whatever you want to call it, on the ground between 0 to like 1,000 feet or 10,000 feet or something like that. Because apparently there's more companies that want that data of that low flying aircraft landing or as it's taking off. So they're trying to find a way to better incentivize that or something like that. That Robin discussed that more than once on his AMAs, including the last AMA that he had when we discussed all the new rewards, because I distinctly asked him about that for my friend that I helped put that station up on. But you know, I don't know how to go to me. They're going to have to be able to just strictly go off detection. It's not, this is just me talking. This is not them. This is me talking. But I will argue that you can't just do blanket mileage, because there are stations that are close to airports, but because of obstructions, still can't get those low flying or aircraft or anything. You know, I'll come back to what one of my stations, and use my stations for example, is you look at here, and this station and this station cannot see any ground flights at Moisant. MSY is Moisant. That's what they used to call it. Now it's Louis Armstrong, but Moisant. But my tower right here, well, my station on my buddy's 400-foot tower can count all of the freaking aircraft that are on the ground at Moisant. But that station is like 20 miles away from Moisant or New Orleans International Airport. So you can't just automatically go off miles. They're going to have to know. Maybe that's all they're trying to adjust. I don't know. What else? Y'all make sure you hit the like button for me. I'm desperate. Influx says 100% they will. They will. And that's, I'm almost wondering if I'm hurting myself, my other stations, by having so many here. That's why I'm trying to spread out. And I have been spreading out more, my stations more out of state. You know, that's why I went to Canada and stuff like that. But there's also part of me that wonders, am I helping out the other person too much? Because I'm greedy. I don't put up all these stations and spend every day and my weekends and stuff like that. You know, for no reason. One thing I also want to discuss was staking with Soarchain. That subject came up earlier too. Y'all know for a while I was dead set against staking Soarchain. I still have a, you know, it ain't just my stomach issues I need surgery for. I still have a bad feeling in my stomach because of the way that Soarchain treated their validators during testnet. For those who need a quick 30-second history, during testnet, outside of people put together stations, servers, whatever validators, and they were the validators to stake your Soarchain through testnet, TSOAR. Well, when mainnet came, staking was stopped. Everybody got their rewards and all their tokens back out the pool automatically. But the validators were never made whole. They never got paid. They lost some tokens. They never got the tokens they were owed. And last I know, unless that person's here can tell us anything otherwise, as of a couple of weeks ago, they still have not got made right. And so for the longest time, I was like, okay, that's screwed up. I'm not going to stake my Soarchain. Not that my little bit of tokens was going to make a difference, but just out of spite. But at some point, everybody kept talking about staking, want to know about staking, how much you're making with staking. So I'm like, screw it. I'm going to start staking. So I am currently staking my 22,000 Soarchain. And I'm making it's like 67% APR right now. Like, you go find that with any other staking right now on a stable coin, not these new crazy coins that come on Binance and KuCoin that you can get 117% APR and stuff like that on it. And they don't last more than 2 or 3 months. You know, I'm gonna give you a perfect example. As I drove around for a little while today at work, maybe 2 hours work, my rewards for driving around today were only 22 tokens. If y'all can see that. However, my daily rewards for staking is 69 tokens, if y'all can see that. 69 tokens. Because you're also, in your rewards, you're getting a 1.75 multiplier, 1.74 multiplier, because I'm staking for 90 days. So I'm making I'm making way more just from staking than I am from actually running a project. Now, again, it ain't nothing to go and brag about because it's like 25, 30 cents a day I'm making. But still, compared to what the rewards were for Soarchain before that, it's hard to find another project that is making that kind of APR right now, staking. Is Soarchain dead? Discord activity in 24 hours. Listen, y'all know me. Soarchain, I kept getting attacked in Soarchain by some goofball that I put a ransom on because he was so upset that I was still dead set against, and I'm sitting there talking about how, Soarchain is kind of like the picture perfect, I'm trying to think. When we talk about some of these projects, every project's got its cheerleaders. Hey, I cheerlead for Wingbits, and when people start knocking Wingbits with no substance and making crap up, I will defend them. And sometimes I get in trouble, my hand slapped from Axie and stuff like that, telling me to calm down and remember the rules and stuff like that. But there were several of us bringing up facts in Soarchain that we felt we were getting slighted on, or I was kind of pissed that I was not getting defended by the Soarchain people because Soarchain had no problem paying us for parked vehicles in the beginning. They had no problem. They said they had no problem with it. And then they turn off, or they drastically reduce by 99% your parked rewards. And then when we talk about, and I mentioned that, listen, if you want to turn off parked rewards, that's fine. But you're going to have to up the rewards while driving. And I can say all these people, several people came and started attacking us that we were hackers, we were gaming the system just because you can't game no more while parked. And I lost it because I'm like, you ain't going to sit and call me a gamer. I am vehemently against people who do that kind of stuff. If you've ever watched any of my videos or anything, parked rewards was allowed. I didn't purposely leave my phone in my car because I need it because I'm on call 24/7. If my phone stayed connected, I got rewarded for it. I didn't purposely go disconnect it, but I kept saying and telling them, if y'all want this project to last, you're going to have to do better with some of these rewards or people are going to leave. And I got attacked for that. And I got attacked more than once for that. And people who also mentioned that got attacked because you have these cheerleaders. Then you come to find out what it is those cheerleaders had fleets of vehicles, so they didn't have to worry about their vehicle ever being parked. It constantly ran, so they were making those improved rewards and stuff. And I kept saying, y'all want to ignore some of these people like me. Look, I ain't nobody special. I'm a guy that has a YouTube that, 30,000 subscribers. It ain't like some of these ones with 1 million subscribers. But if y'all don't make some of these other people happy, they're going to quit running it. I'm telling you right now, that's happening with Silencio. I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm willing to bet whatever you want. People are not running Silencio right now because this goofy raffle ticket thing. When you have 500,000 raffle tickets and you're making $10 for the month, that's BS. And now you got people leaving it. Sure, the cheerleaders are still there, but if you can't keep some of these people happy, your project is not going to last. You still need people running your project. Y'all can tell me if y'all disagree or not, but you have to be able to balance that out. Sure, you don't want to give away all your tokens now because the price goes up. What's going to happen to it? I understand that to a point, but allowing these cheerleaders just to sit there and attack us because, we didn't do anything wrong is BS. Oh. People are still asking about the airdrop for Cosmos stakers who registered their Kepler devices for the airdrop. But how long ago was that? That's in the Soarchain Discord. What else we got? See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, go cheerlead. They're going backwards and risking being delisted. Mexi has the high. That's what I'm trying to say is like, for how long this has been on. And I'm about to say, they just started this whole dash cam thing. And why would this be going backwards? I don't understand. Rug pull. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see what else we got. Silencio. What's Silencio at? I'm very curious. Y'all gonna get a video from me when I get screwed on my Silencio. Let me tell you, you know how I knew Silencio struggling? Is because as soon as you get on there, you can watch 3 videos back to back to back and get 100, 200, 300, 400, 1,000 raffle tickets just for watching the video. You don't even have to do the project no more. You're making more from watching one video than a 30-minute actual running of the project. What sense does that make? You don't think that means they're struggling and desperate? I don't know what else it would mean. But today I had, because it's the first time I've sat there, I was bored waiting on a guy for work. And I open up my Silencio and I said, let me do this whole, as soon as you open it up, you can, do this daily reward and you can sit there and run this, watch a video and then it ticks with 100, 200, 300, 500, or 1,000 tickets. And then you can watch another video, 100, 200, 300, 500, 400 tickets, and then do it again. And I'm like, I can sit here right now, watch 3 videos and get more raffle tickets than 3 days worth of me scanning like I'm supposed to be doing. Oh. See, I don't know if I'm gonna go that far. I'd have to look. Elias says he's doing better with Demo than I am with Soarchain. I think I've always put Demo in a different category because I don't have to mess with it. I have 5 Demo macrons right now. And other than updating the firmware once a month, maybe, you don't have to touch it. My family doesn't have to worry about it. They run. You don't touch it. Soarchain, you got to sit there and finagle with the app. I'm driving Saturday to Lake Charles. That's going to be a 3-hour drive for my conference. For actually my daughter's state championships down there, and then my conference happens to be down there too. I got to drive back. That 3-hour drive, I guarantee you, my Soarchain Bluetooth will disconnect 3 times, at least 3 times. That there's something wrong with that. I find it's whenever I start driving through an area, and even on the interstate, when I start driving through an area that gets weak cell phone coverage, that Soarchain Bluetooth drops. And that needs to be addressed. But, who am I to say anything? So, all right, we're 45 minutes in. We've complained about enough projects. What else are we going to talk about? Irwin, for those who, I don't know, is it time to charge Irwin? Who fought it didn't remind anybody today. I don't know. Let's see. Nope. And this is my thing with this goofy project. You come on here, you try to charge it. It's going to tell you that you're too early. And then come tomorrow, I'm going to miss out on opening the box because I'm not charged. Like I'm supposed to be in their Discord once an hour, every hour. Like this whole charging thing every 3 days is getting old. It just sucks. But they are opening more and more and more boxes. So and then if you go to the TheGrumpyDad Discord and you go to Irwin, for those people who hit Irwin, if you want to quickly see, you can quickly see what's going on with each box because I have it forwarded to you. Like I said, the Grumpy Discord is a place that you can get all your project updates in one place. So here we go. And so boxes survived, and that was yesterday, 271 reward. Yet a day ago, another 169, 34. So all of a sudden they got boxes opening and opening and opening and opening. So I don't know if people are losing interest. Here's a box burn. And what this is based off is that people are selling, then that happens. Another box burned. Another box burned. Oh. Silencio. Soarchain. Rover. I heard somebody say Rover's going to TGE soon or something like that. But hey, y'all wanted the Rover channel. I got a Rover channel. Onakoi, I gotta say, everybody wanted me to get an Onakoi. People are asking over and over about getting an Onakoi. I now have an Onakoi station online. I'm not gonna lie, it actually belongs to somebody here in the chat, and I am hosting his Onakoi on a GeoNet station. So I am now officially in the Onakoi project. Y'all kept asking. For those who are in Onakoi, what does it cost right now if I want to go buy one of those little N-Trip boxes or whatever it is to add to my original GeoNet station? Because I've heard prices from 100 to 500. So for those who are in Onakoi, what is it going to cost me to add an Onakoi station right now to my GeoNet station that I have? That's my question. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but that is just above. I didn't know that this pole was going to be high enough, but just enough right above the tree line. We're getting 36 out of 36 GeoNet satellites and a good amount of Onakoi. I don't know. We have to wait 24 hours for that one to refresh. But as you can see, we're like right above. You can see what the antenna is, and then right above that tree line. That's a tall pole. And we're getting 39 out of 39. If you can see that, it ain't gonna focus. 39 out of 39 satellites there. But I got room for one more GeoNet. If somebody has a GeoNet they need hosted, 50/50 special. I got another tall pole way on the other side. Our friends work that it can handle a GeoNet. You know, you have to put that in special spots so you have the horizon all the way around. Stuff like that. And I got about 3 or 4 places I can put Weather XM. I told you, if any of y'all want to get a Weather XM and split those, that 50/50, I can throw Weather XM up all day. I got all kinds of buildings and boat launches and all kinds of stuff I can put with internet connections. I can put Weather XM devices at. Oh, then you get a device for like 300 on a cord. Yep. I always thought, why did I think that when somebody was trying to talk me into getting on to Encore, they were trying to tell me the box is only like an additional $100-something. And then you still have to buy the splitter so that you can this one had the splitter on it that he sent me. 380 to 2500 splitter. So, but what's cool is you can actually run, this is a 3-way splitter. So the antenna goes in through the top and you have 3 on the bottom, and you can actually plug in your geosigner into that part and that'll work, which is cool. But I don't know what this costs either. Weather XM, Wi-Fi, and helium cost same. Yeah, the first Weather XM I set up was the smaller the Wi-Fi with the M5 device, whatever. The one I just set up for a host that I'm hosting was the first time I did it for the D1 station, I think it was, with Wi-Fi. A little bit different setup, but I like it because I have this nice, pretty screen here now that I can look at. And my daughter, who always likes to go outside and tan for her, and she always asks me, what's the UV index? I'm like, I don't know. It's sunny outside. Go outside. She always want me to look it up online to see what the UV index. Well, she likes that one because it has the UV index on it. So she can go cook in the sun, as if playing softball doesn't get her enough tan. Oh, what else? Took first place in 2 matches last night in Call of Duty. Of course, playing casuals for all people, but either way, casuals is only casual for the first ring of gas. And when all the bots are dead and the real people show up, it gets real after that point. Ugh. What else is going on? Oh, also, somebody inquired. There are 3 Willy Wonka tickets that are missing right now. So any of y'all, and I guess it's too late if you, my wife complains that I buy crap and I still have the box from building this computer. All my boxes are in one big box in my attic. I have boxes up there literally for stuff I bought when I moved in this house. I built this house and moved this house 21 years ago, and I still have crap from that first entertainment center up there. But for those of you who might still have y'all's WB200 or MGW 310 packing stuff in boxes and stuff, there are 3 Willy Wonka tickets out there that have never been claimed. They were in the first 2,000 shipments, which those first 2,000 have long gone out. And nobody's turned them in. What is, for those of you who don't know what a Willy Wonka ticket is, it was a ticket gold ticket put in the HiFix station. Mike Horton from GeoNet mentioned it, but they went into those Wingbits / GeoNets or the Wingbits devices, and they were 10,000 Geo tokens. And currently, the price of a Geo token is 21 cents. So 10,000 Geo tokens. Is it 10,000? Yes, 10,000 Geo tokens. Shut the front door. 10,000 Geo tokens. 10,000, make sure my zeros are right, is worth $2,000 worth of Geo tokens. So how sick of stomach y'all gonna be if y'all realized y'all threw away the Willy Wonka ticket? There are 3 tickets that have been confirmed sent out because they were in the first 2,000 shipments, which have been going out. So they're telling me that they've reached they're past that first 2,000. They could possibly still be in boxes that are shipped in case if those shipments are possibly delayed. But I can tell you right now, I have ripped through this box several times. And unless it's inside of this plastic, foam, it ain't in here. And I've even pulled this completely out. Make sure it wasn't stuck in these creases. Y'all thought I was happy when I got this. I would definitely have to rename my channel away from Grumpy to something else if I got a Willy Wonka ticket from GeoNet. So, got less than 10,000 being in the project for 2 to 3 years. Yeah, you and me. So there's that. Maybe I need to check out my 7 boxes right now. And Flux is gonna be gone. He's not even gonna come back. He's gonna be trying to cash in his Willy Wonka ticket. Yeah. I might have to do a short just to do, I gotta start doing more shorts to get my algorithm back up since I missed so much being sick last week. Let's see, I'm still at 29,700 subscribers. It seems like I'm never gonna hit that 30,000 mark. I get very close to it, and it just seems like I must piss certain demographic off. I must have said something political, and people can't think with their own minds, and it pisses people off, I guess. I am doing a video, I think it's thorough. Some people might think it's a nonsense, but I have been putting this little buddy right here through the paces and comparing him to all kinds of different setups. So one thing I can tell you successfully is you can take on and off this cable 25 times without having problems, because I have did it so far. But I still, no matter how many times I pick this up, and y'all sick of hearing me say that, I cannot tell you how impressed I am with this device. It is, every time I pick it up, I am I can't believe how heavy and sturdy this thing is. It's definitely like a metal, but it's solid. And I have been testing it. I have a 40-foot ham antenna behind the house, tower behind the house. I have a 5.5 dBi antenna on top of that. And for those who saw that little excerpt, this little 3 dBi antenna, don't be in a rush to go swap it. I'm telling y'all. Now, I ain't gonna sit and lie to you and tell you it so far as a little hint to that video. I'm not gonna sit and tell you that it's 1-for-1 with the 5.5, but it's not such detrimental that you have to rush and swap it. And again, I know I'm giving away half my video, but there's one thing that is very conflicting on this, is that if I take this station and I put a 5 point with, I use one of these adapters, I have an adapter that will do, I bought several of these adapters where it's, I'm sorry, TNC adapters. So that it's TNC on one side and it's either N male or TNC on one side with an N female on it, just so I can have two different ones. I have found so far preliminarily, and look, y'all can disagree, whatever. I'm just telling you what the real world stuff is. Taking a 5.5, I think I left in my truck because all the testing I've been doing. Taking a 5.5 dBi antenna directly on here has astronomical results. But when you put, and this, I'm talking about even LMR 400, y'all know me and my RF, I don't cut corners. When I put LMR 400 on here to a 5.5, the results aren't that good. It's like for some reason, and it's not supposed to work like this. It's like for some reason, this does not like having feed line attached to it. I don't know if it's polarity, if it's voltages. It's not loss because I have a SDR going to it. This just seems to fluctuate a lot when you put. I'm getting better results with this ground station with a 5.5 literally on the ground than I am with an elevated 5.5. And that's one reason why I haven't released the video yet, is because I'm doing more testing and more testing and more testing. There are times that, and this is just me being honest, and y'all, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. There's times when this thing impresses my pants off, which is an ugly sight. And there's sometimes it's got me scratching my head. I thought it was going to be, when I first did my first testing here at the house and this thing blew away everything out the water, I'm like, man, I'm going to put this up against everything and this is going to blow it out the waters. And it's not. I'll tell you right now, it's not. But it's kind of unfair to also do that testing because it's not like if Who Farted wants another station in North Canada, it's not like he has a choice right now to go with either DIY or WB200. He has to go to WB200. But there are a lot of people asking that question, is how is this comparing to some to some DIY devices? And I'm going out to my DIY devices. Y'all know I got several of them. And I am taking a reading. Then I'm plugging this straight into the antenna feed line. Or I'm even going up kind of close to the antenna and putting either this antenna, the 3, or putting a 5.5 directly on this, or I'm running all those tests, and I'll go to this one and it's like, holy hell, this thing blew that DIY out the water. And you go to this other one and the DIY is outperforming. Like, there's just no rhyme or reason right now. And y'all know me, I'm about real life tests. Yeah, people who are on the Discord who I'm arguing with over PM because these devices should be. We had a lot of these arguments during the SDR days when we were doing all these SDR and these tables will come out. This SDR should be way better because it has this chip on it. And I'm like, I don't care. In real life, you run this one for 3 or 4 days and you run this one 3 or 4 days, and this green SDR is outperforming all of them. On that $35, $40, $50 level. I'm not talking about the AirSpy minis. I'm talking about blues versus green versus black. Green outperforms all of them. I'll argue with anybody all day. And they're going to sit and tell me, you look at the chip. Look at this table. That green one's got this chip in it, and that chip shouldn't be doing it. I don't care what the freaking table's got. In real life, all the testing I've did on top of a 400-foot tower, sitting here at the ground, 10 foot on a rooftop. I run the black, run the green, run the blue, ran a ADS-B exchange blue, and then what's the other blue? the other Flight Away or whatever like that. The blue one from AliExpress. And the green outperforms them. I understand the circuitry's not supposed to be as good or whatever. Now, the problem with the green is I've lost 6 of them in a year because of ESD. So do you just keep buying them because they outperform them? Or do you go with the blues? And it has to be the blue FlightAwares because we learned what happens with the blue ADXB exchange ones. They break off on the tips. And it's the same thing. You got people saying, oh, this one should be performing this one because this has this LNA in it with this filter and this stuff like that. And it outperforms what some of that is. They put it through, how weatherproof is WB200 to do a soak test. I don't know about the soak test. Actually had told me, though, they put it in some high temperatures, and it kept on cooking. Well, cooking ain't the word to use. Kept on ticking. How about that? Oh, let's see if I can find what temperature they had there. 158 degrees. This was in 158 degrees with no damage, still ticking, still measuring ADSB with no problem. So listen, I know we all getting these pond tests on Discord. I'm hotter. Down in South Louisiana, we literally have 99, 100% humidity. But yeah, our temperatures are only 90 degrees. But with 100% humidity, you can't breathe. And the heat index is this. And then you have, Eric in Arizona saying, man, we are at 120 degrees at 6 a.m. And everybody, but guess what? Nobody's getting to 154. But these things are made for outside. You keep the caps on. You can, you make sure you screw this all the way down. But these things are weatherproof to be outside. Now, will it survive a soak test, a dunk test? I don't think they're made to be submerged. But, our Motorola radios aren't made to be submerged longer than a minute or two. That's what they're rated towards. They could be out in rain and stuff like that when deputies or firemen or EMS is out and pouring down rain or snow. But I can tell you, for Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Isaac, and Hurricane Ida, we had deputies who lost radios in floods that stayed submerged for 2 to 3 days. In them radios, we found them when it went down. We discarded the battery, blew it out, and those radios lasted another 2 or 3, 4, 5 years until we took them out of service. But they're not rated for that dunk test. They're rated for whatever the spec is, mil spec or whatever it is for, Motorola at the conference we go to every August. They got one where the radio, they took some of the housing off and they dunked it. And for 3 days at the vendor booth, it stayed submerged. And on the 4th day, when we had this big Motorola session only for Motorola people, we were in there. They took it out and did like this, put the battery on it, and it keys up with no problem. But it's not rated for that. So, more about a hurricane. So we'll find out. I hate to say it. I don't want to find out. I can't afford my house insurance now. My house insurance went from $2,500 a year to $6,000 to $7,500 a year in 3 years after Hurricane Ida. I don't want to find out from another hurricane, but I'm gonna tell you, knock on wood, didn't lose out of my 20 plus helium devices at that time. Didn't lose any of them. I had a bunch of, what year we in? Last year, Francine. I mean, we got 80 to 90 mile an hour gust with pouring down rains, and I didn't lose any Wingbit stations or helium devices. And some of those were those Nebo silver outdoor boxes. But, hopefully this won't have to go through that test, but chances are it'll go through a tropical system this year, whether it's going to be a tropical storm or a full-blown hurricane. We'll never get insurance again, but yeah. Yeah, 619. I know you were talking about putting a device on top of a, airport. That would have been awesome. Hey man, I tell y'all, one of the best. Y'all can make fun of wrestling all y'all want, but as a kid growing up, you learn these life lessons. And one of the number one life lessons I learned came from wrestling, from a guy called the $1 Million Man. And you know what the $1 Million Man taught us all us young kids? Everybody's got a price. Everybody's got a price. Yeah, I'm sure y'all heard that before. Hey man, you offer them some cash, offer them something else. I joke to a point, but you know, I was talking to somebody either early this morning or yesterday about, you know, what do I offer, or what do some people offer for host fees and host payments or whatever like that. And I'm like, I've been ridiculed over what I offer my host. Some people think it's blasphemy what I offer my host. I've watched people who made these horrible deals in helium. But again, we were all trying to buy back then. We were trying to get as many helium devices we want because you were installing ATM machines to a point. Again, y'all know I'm gonna say it. I made $5,000 in 17 days on my first helium device. So people were making these outrageous cash every month deals with hosts and stuff like that. And I said, y'all are out of your mind, because at some point you're not gonna be making enough to cover that. And that's what happened. They got stuck, and them hosts didn't want to renegotiate. But that's what I like about Wingbits and even GeoNet, because I learned that with GeoNet when I was putting up this host device. You can sit right there in that wallet and put this percentage in, and it automatically goes. You don't have to worry about getting, scamming in somebody or not sending in at the first of the month or anything like that. It's wonderful. Listen, all my hosts that I have hosts, other than the last one in Canada, but almost all my hosts are personal friends that I have. Yes, I had to come up with some of the devices, but I also look at it as I'm doing 50-50 with them. People think that's crazy. People think it should be 60-40, 40-60, 30-70. No way. I look at it as this. At least by me putting a little potato at that person's house with an SDR and antenna, at least I'm getting 50%. Because if I didn't have that host, I'd be getting 0. And that's just how I look at it. I'm not screwing my friends over. I have to live at the end of with myself at the end of the day. Now, if it's somebody who I don't really know and I want to be a certain way, I'm gonna tell you right now, y'all might fall backwards. My host station in Florida, I'm giving him like 80%, because the station is a very poor performing station, but it gives me enough hexes to say I'm the godfather of the Gulf. But it's making hardly any wings. So instead of him getting upset, I try to give him majority of them, because I have 13 other. Actually, when I get this installed, this will be my 15th Wingbit station. So I'm giving him 10 more or 12 more, 15 more wings than I would normally be getting. I'm still getting 20%. I sent him a little potato. He already had the antenna on the roof. But some of y'all gonna think that's crazy. Yeah. I have not looked at the video of Miss Tastic. Yeah, people are saying, like, I'll pay your internet. I'm gonna tell you right now, my helium device came off of my building in Baton Rouge, because once it got to a point where it wasn't even close to making the money to pay for that internet bill, I was paying, $30 a month for internet on top of a building, and that helium device was making 7 cents at one point a day, or 12 cents a day, because IoT was so low. I turned it off. And then with Wingbits, I went back and told the dude I made a mistake, because I could have my internet back at the same price, and he let me have it. But that's the decision you can make. So what percentages I'm making with my host versus any other person, 619 might make a different deal versus Elias, what he's going to make and what Enflux Mining is going to make and Raptor Mining is going to make, and these other people. Everybody's going to negotiate what they have to negotiate. Sure, I guess in the good negotiate, if you're willing to, if you want to do 60% and that host is only going to get 40 and that host is willing to take that chance and do that, sure. I mean, you can do that. It make a little more out of it. It's a good business thing, what I did tell somebody today was, because I had this question today, that was me putting out DIY devices. Now, when you start coming to these things that are $500, I would have to talk to my friends and tell them, ladies and gentlemen, this is a $500 device. It might need to be a 70-30 or 60-40 deal. And I would be open with them with the numbers and the revenue, at least until this ROIs. And then we can renegotiate to a 50-50, 60-40, something, 40-60, or something like that. But not that I'm even going to do this, because right now I know I can't afford it. But before I put one of these at a host location, I'm getting 70-30 or 60, no less than 60-40, 60 in my pocket until this is paid off. And that's me. So yeah, 50-50 when I'm doing DIY, because this guy who I talked to yesterday, he had a DIY, 2 DIYs. One of them he had to move because of a hex issue. And he was going to put up, and that's what he's asking. I said, dude, if you already got it or whatever, and it's a friend of yours, 50-50, call it a day. That's just me. But on something like this, all right. Hey, 5,000 helium, and I learned a lesson. Don't get greedy and buy 25 more stations. And I know y'all don't want to get into it because I've been to it enough videos, but Hurricane Ida came last minute. It was not supposed to come to us. It was supposed to hit the entire other side of the state. We were not prepared for it at all. Hurricane Ida comes, and I had to evacuate my family within like 2 days, get them the hell out of here. And imagine taking your family with kids, with a young teenage boy at the time, with, again, no prep, no money. Like, if you're going on a vacation for a week, you can save some money on the side, and you look around and find a good hotel room and find a place that you can kind of afford and you can budget. When your family has to get in the car and leave for a week, and these hotels ain't stupid. It don't matter if we have a big hurricane coming to Louisiana, you can't find a hotel between here and Tennessee, literally. And if you do, you're paying $500 and $600 a night. It's crazy. And you know why my family made it? Because of helium. And that's why I will always be partial to helium, is because if I wouldn't have had that helium banked up, I don't know how I would have been able. Look, my wife would kill me because she says I tell y'all way too much about our finances, but I don't care. This is me being real with y'all, what y'all enjoy about this channel. And I'm being real with y'all. If it wasn't for helium and some Ethereum mining, I was doing GPUs. But my family had to evacuate for a week in the hotel, feed them with no notice, pay for gas, in helium and Ethereum to a point, paid for that. So that's where some of that money went also, but again, I've also taken that Wingbits. I'm sorry, I'm looking at Wingbits. Helium. When I wanted to get a Crow card from crypto.com and I wanted the nice dark blue card that has the better finance, the better APR and stuff like that on it, you needed $4,000 worth of Crow. I didn't have $4,000 worth of Crow. I had $4,000 worth of helium. So back then I bought about 4,800, almost 5,000 worth, 5,000 Crow coins. And now I got 30,000 and I've never bought another one past 48. So I've gained that. So if Crow ever comes back to $1, which we can only hope, that was its all-time high, I've turned that $4,800 from helium into $30,000. And it all came from helium. Never even came out of my pocket. So I did that kind of stuff with helium. But again, helium back then had 20,000 miners. I'll never forget getting all excited because Somebody put a new station up in New Orleans. This was at my buddy's building in New Orleans. And somebody else put another station on the other side of New Orleans. Oh, I hope I can hit it from there. And as more came up, you watch, dude, we were making 18 to 20 helium a day. And helium was only $5 or $6 each. $4, $5, $6 each. And you watch it get to $20 and $30. But yeah, at the same time, the tokens were going down, but we didn't care. That was fun times. I had to say it was fun times. And then we just kept buying. And, oh, SenseCap is coming out with a sale tonight. Oh, okay. Well, who's out of me and my three buddies? Like, who's staying up tonight to get some of these SenseCaps? We were buying 5 SenseCaps at a time, taking our helium money. You know, that was fun times, man. You know, and I think that is why I've said this before in one of my videos about Are We Spoiled? Is I think people are trying to capture that again. We're all getting into some of these projects new during testnet, hoping to cash in on the next helium. And I don't think we will ever see that again. You'll never see it again. You're not going to see that with Wingbits. You're not going to see it with 375 AR. You're definitely not going to see it with these ones that already went TGE. And I think unless we're getting that kind of income, the Lambos are done. Think about it. Even the meme coins, these meme coins that people are getting outrageous returns on because they get in early. You know what happens 9 times? Like I've seen these chats and these Twitters and stuff like that, where these people will put in $100 into a meme coin, and next thing you know, they got $30,000 or $40,000, but there's no freaking liquidity for them to cash it out. What good is it having that? You know, so the chance of you getting this Lambo type stuff and like we did with helium, I just think them days are long gone. I mean, 619 has been in that helium longer than me because that's how we know each other from the Vox coin days and in the early helium days. I mean, you tell me 619, you tell me, like, do you ever see another project on that level? I don't. You know, I'll never forget looking at, and I showed this in one of my videos a while back. I think it was the spoil video, the guy in Baton Rouge, who he had early helium days. For those who don't know this, helium started with DIY devices. And this dude had 25 devices, supposedly all through Baton Rouge, Angola prison, which is the #1 max rated prison in Louisiana. That's where the hardcore of the hardcore go, all waiting for their death sentence. Supposedly in there, they have fields out there for gardening and stuff. There was helium devices in the gardens, which we all knew was spoofed. But this guy had $1 million worth of HNT sitting in a wallet. You're never going to see that again. But we'll see. Not unless there's no lockdown in FTX. So you think if there's another lockdown in FTX, what do you think if the price crashes and we buy at the bottom with everything? Because somebody pointed this out a while back. Some of these altcoins, their prices are just as low as they were back then to a point. Like they came up and they went right back down. They haven't recovered like Bitcoin's recovered. You know, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I wasn't doing a lot of. I don't even think I was even doing videos during that FTX thing. But even you know, Luna Classic when Luna really started it before the FTX fiasco. But I kept watching. What's his name? Gilbert or whatever his name is, the goofball with the ponytail with all the TVs and stuff. And what he kept telling everybody 2-3 years ago, Bitcoin's going to $8,000. Bitcoin's going to $8,000. So when it was at 15, 16 grand, I didn't buy nothing because it's going to $8,000. It was another 100%. It was, well, 50% it was going down, whatever you want to call it. You know, I kicked myself in the freaking butt. Now, I'm going to tell you, I was still DCAing in, because that's how I know why it's not up that much, because I was still DCAing in Atom, ADA, Vet, Solana, and something else. But there was 5 I was just stacking. And Atom I was buying, but Atom was at $40 at one point, and I'm just stacking it, and now it's worth $4. But it had some great rates on Exodus. You know, my big fame right now is Solana, because I was telling everybody in these helium groups to dude, y'all are in helium groups. How you can sit in and say Solana's done after FTX fiasco? Helium is on Solana, and I'm loading my bags up at $8, $10, $12, $13. And these idiots are going to sit there and talk about how I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about. Solana's done. Well, I hope Solana's not done. You're in a helium group that helium is tied to Solana, you dummies. And look at us now. Even if it is low right now to 140, 150, or that I bought that $8 to $12. I don't know. Each station is water tested. Probably prefers to try that and test all their can on their end rather than ship and find out later to deal with that. I bet. So $1 million. 619 says he saw $1 million wallet with CBRS. Here's a major developer got pissed and said F off. I'm gonna tell you, I saw the writing on the wall with Helium Mobile. I've told you all that many times, and I watched fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. That wasn't gonna happen with Helium Mobile with me. I saw what happened with Helium IoT. But with me having all this tower access, I ain't gonna sit in a lot of y'all that I wish maybe I would have put maybe a helium device on one of my buddy's towers, because that's just a Cat 5 or something running down it. I don't know what I would do about bandwidth and internet and stuff, but either way, the certain host that I'm dealing with that gave me these GeoNets and WeatherXM and stuff, he had some helium Wi-Fi, but I have no place to put that. In this rural area, there's no place indoor to put that kind of stuff. That's why I haven't really messed with Wayru. I didn't mess with XNet or anything like that. So I have to say also, while I keep staring at it, there has been, for I'd say March, April, there's a lull in Wingbits GeoNet devices being bought, at least with my code. In the last 2 to 3 weeks, I think word's getting out. Whoever's pushing it, thank you, whatever. But these are my codes, so I don't know if they're stumbling on my thing. But my code has been blowing up I'm telling you, 3 or 4 times a day again. So thank y'all very much for whoever's buying. Even if y'all just buying antennas at HiFix.ai or Ethernet wires from Helium Deploy, and y'all using my code, I just want to tell y'all thank you. For those who, I know y'all don't want to hear about my sob stories and stuff with all my issues right now going on, but it seems like every week something happens and I owe somebody $2,000. And unfortunately it's 2,000 and not 20. But I'm gonna be shaking a boot soon at red lights. And for those of y'all who live in places that you'll know what that means, they have these fundraising groups, fire departments and Shriners for the poor kids and stuff like that, that they shake boots at red lights for donations. And when people stop at the red lights, they put money in and stuff. And I always joke that, if I get hit with another $2,000 bill between taxes and, I still understand how I take out so much extra out of every check and I still owe. I don't understand that. And then my health issue in America out here, when you have a deductible, they want you to pay the deductible up front. I'm like, yeah, what's 2,000? You want that in a check, credit card? Yeah, sure. It's always something. Always something. I have one of my rules at work. Rule number 1 is I told you so. Rule number 2 is I can't wait to see what's next. Lately, rule number 2 has been outruling the rule number 1, and it is what it is. So, hey, we'll get through it. So, I still haven't really figured out where I'm going to park this at. But again, I'm doing all my tests. So I think that's going to be a cool video. I'm hoping to have that finished up by some point. I was really hoping to get that done before I leave for my conference on Sunday. I'm hoping I can get most of it done tomorrow. I'm planning on skipping out of work. I got a bunch of vacation time, sick time, different things like that. And I'm planning on going to a couple more spots. I want to do some more testing, comparing this, because it's inconsistent. Let me just say that that's me comparing to some of my DIY. I'm gonna tell you right now. I say that, but I'm gonna contradict myself right now. If I didn't have a DIY to compare this to, say this is my first station because I missed DIY, This is my first station. This is my introduction to Wingbits. And I took this 3 dBi and I put it on this station and I installed this on top of a roof. You are going to be extremely, extremely pleased. It is a outstanding station. Again, people are asking me. I get this question literally, because my wife hates when I say that word like that, literally every day. I'm not exaggerating, every day. Whether it's I get tagged in the Discord or PM, DM, Twittered, whatever you want to call it. Hey, Grumpy, do I need to go buy one of the 5.5 dBis with an adapter, but a 5.5 to put on top of this? I can't answer that question right now. Can't answer it. Listen, I had this thing with a 3 dBi on the ground performing almost as good as the 5.5 on top of my ham tower. When I put a 5.5 on here, there was an increase. Is it a $50 worth increase for a new antenna? I don't think so. Like, it depends on the mileage you're getting. If you're in a place like, you know, if you're in a place like Daniel that's in Africa where there's not a lot of planes going through there, you just have to be able to get the very few planes that come through these hexes. This is all you need for that. If you're looking at your TAR 1090 screen and you're getting 300 miles with this, you don't need another antenna. You're already basically at the max. But if you feel that, you know, there's way more planes out there that you possibly are missing, and you're missing those messages out of a lot of planes, aircraft, or you think, you know, you do have clear line of sight. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you all, not to hurt some of y'all's feelings, but some people tell me they have clear line of sight and they're asking for a picture, and 20 miles up the road, they got mountains, woods, and stuff like that. That's not clear line of sight, because those mountains are still blocking it 20, 50, 100 miles down the road. But, you know, if you think you need that, you should be getting some more mileage out of it, and you're only getting 150 miles for some reason, then go throw that antenna on there. But I'm going to tell you, this thing is impressive as it is out the box. I have to say that. What delayed this thing was them putting this new, improved, better LNA in here, and I think that made a huge difference. But it's the same argument we have with some people. You know, do you need an AirSpy Mini on a DIY device? We can't answer that. If you're the kind of person that you don't mind spending money, taking the chance of possibly not seeing an increase, and you don't care, but you have a chance of getting an increase to make more wings and, again, make more money, you willing to take that gamble, knowing that it might not make a difference, but you can live with yourself with that, then you can max that kind of setup out. If you want to say, hey, I paid $500 for this thing, I don't want to put another dime into this until I know what kind of income it's making, you can very well put this 3 dBi on here and call it a day, as long as you get it high up over the rooftops, over your neighbor's rooftops and stuff like this. This device right here will work wonderful. And that's probably what I'm going to end up saying in my video, confusing the hell out of everybody. Don't get a 12 dBi. See, like, now you're triggering me. You're trying to trigger me. Don't hear no 12 dBi. One day I got to get my buddy to do a screenshot of his setup of what he's getting with a 12 dBi. He has a ham antenna tower behind his house, almost exactly like mine. I have a 5.5. He's got a 12 dBi. He has a green SDR with a Pi. I have a Pi with a green SDR, and we're going to compare just so I can show people what a 12 dBi is. Because every time somebody posts one of them stupid pictures of this is what a 3 dBi looks like, this is what a 6 dBi looks like, and this is what a 12 dBi looks like, I want to lose my you know what, and then get booted from the Discord by Axie. Because it's not the same. You're not transmitting. It's not the same. Stop it. Stop it. Oh, have only 619. I agree with you too. how do some people only have one hex? I don't know. I was setting this up on and I'll plug it in first so I can get it, you know, when I bring this to a new spot to do testing. I'm plugging it in first with no antenna on it because I'm planning on swapping it, hot swapping it to a point from the other station that's at that hosted location. But the first thing I do though is I'm plugging this in to Ethernet to get its DHCP, to get it on GPS and stuff like that. Earlier today, I was getting planes 50 miles out in a 360 direction with no freaking antenna on it. That had to be at least 3 or 4 hexes right there with no antenna. So when I go through this Wingbits map, and I'm not gonna do it now because we're getting late, but when I see these stations, especially these stations on the coast, and they're getting 1 or 2 hexes, what the hell are y'all doing? Like, again, I go back to, it must be in mama's basement or an HOA. But my sister has an HOA, and I did a video where the black, super black 5.5 dBi antenna, she has black gutters or black downspouts. We took this right here, wrapped it with electrical tape. So there's no chrome at all. It's all black. Even the feed line, we wrapped that in black electric tape. So it's completely black. Her HOA is so anal. Like, if her neighbors or somebody saw an antenna, they would be calling it on her. And she's still getting 10, 12 hexes. And she's missing the front half of the house. So, like, how in the hell, if y'all realize how great y'all could have it, y'all are on the coast and getting 2 or 3. California's got them. The East Coast, I was looking for something the other day. The East Coast has them. How in the hell are y'all only getting that? Let's see if I can click. Let's see if I click on one of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Again, I didn't show you the map. So this is her. Again, she's not getting half the coverage. She's got 14 hexes. And this is on the old Lenovo, what they call a tiny computer that she had. Old computer. It had Windows 7 on it. I blew Debian into it. It was with the previous project we don't talk about no more. I blew Wingbits on it. She's a geosigner inside the box. The box stays underneath her patio furniture. But again, look what she's getting. And this thing is literally zip tied to a gutter downspout on the back of her house. So you tell me how some of these stations are only getting 2 or 3 hexes. Hey, it's good for the rest of us. You know, my hope is that when this guy right here, who's in my old neighborhood, puts his online, I can only hope it gets 1 or 2 hexes. But, you know, this guy who's in the middle of swamp with no towers or nothing around, because I know this area like the back of my hand, we used to go fishing. How in the hell is he getting this? I don't know. And what's going to happen when this guy goes online? I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not even going to start this argument 619 with you, but for somebody who's been on some ham boards and ham stuff for a while, they know that an Omni antenna like that is not going to be for over-the-air TV, and the whole OTAR thing does not cover these type of stations. And the problem is also is you're going to get sued, and then you have to pay to bring those HOAs to court in hope that that judge or whoever's going to make that ruling doesn't have a friend or somebody like that lives in that neighborhood and rule against you. And then you're out of those fees, whatever you had to pay for an attorney or for court or for suing them or anything like that. And then the HOA can then come against you and sue you for the fees they paid to go to court. And most people ain't doing all that. Most people doing it because I'll always argue you can get ham antennas like that to do emergency communications during hurricanes and stuff. And the HOAs don't care about that. It's just not, it's just, you know. All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate all the support as always. You know, we've been going on 105 minutes, an hour and a half. I appreciate it. Again, I'm doing some testing for y'all with this stuff. So just because you haven't seen any videos, don't think I have not been busy. And I've been doing a bunch of testing and everything's inconclusive. That's the only thing I can say. I say that, and at the same time, I still say I'm very impressed with this thing. You know, very, very impressed. I don't know exactly who came up with the whole design and schematics of it. I've seen them in his basement or something, but they're good. You know, it ain't gonna help you overcome if you got 25 stations all within 25 miles of it, but they do good, you know, so without getting too extravagant with setups and stuff. So I appreciate everybody. Again, please make sure you hit the like button. If any of y'all want one of these fancy products, make sure you do that. If you haven't joined the Discord yet, which I know looking at most of these names, most of y'all are in the Discord, so thank y'all. And, you know, join the X and all that stuff like that. And I appreciate all the support as usual. So y'all have a great weekend. We actually have, even though it's 88 degrees today, we got some bad storms coming through tomorrow. Hopefully it doesn't hold up the state championship games for softball. But we have a cold front coming through in May. So people are going to be freaking out. Everybody did their landscaping and stuff like that. And so we're having a cold front come through with this. So I'm looking forward to it. I love it. I'd much rather be cold. So make hexes bigger. But you're trying to trigger people with that one. Make hexes bigger. Well, I guess if make hexes bigger, that's less. You're talking about the ownership hexes. There's no way you can do it. We having too many problems right now with grandfathered stations that were allowed to stay in hexes. And I got 2 stations right now in the same hex that still haven't been resolved yet. So, you know, poor Fluffy, y'all know Fluffy, he has a station in one of my hexes that also has one of my stations. And because I got my geosigner set up first, he's missing out. So anyway, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate all the support. I'll be on Discord for a little while. I'll still have to go eat. I haven't eaten all day at all, but that's just my stomach issues and stuff too. So, and then I'll be on my Discord for a little while, chit chat with a couple of people, and then play a little Call of Duty. Go grab me a bourbon and Bywater bourbon, Diet Coke, and you know, my wife left tonight for those playoffs, so it's me and my 18-year-old son, which means he'll be holed up in his room, and got the whole house to myself almost. And I'll be sitting in front of this computer doing stuff. So thank you all for watching. I'll check in over the weekend with some shorts and some videos and stuff like that too. And y'all enjoy it. Y'all enjoy this weekend and everything like that, and get ready for this bull market coming up and all these projects and stuff. So thank y'all for watching. And